What's something that is common knowledge at your workplace that will be mind-blowing to the rest of us? If you make a lane change on the highway and cut close in front of my big rig, you are not making me mad. You are scaring the shit out of me. Because if you blow a tire or if anything else causes you to sharply lose speed at that moment, I will roll over you like a 40-ton avalanche and they will have to wash you and your children out of the wreckage with a hose. I feel like no one knows this. It's always terrifying to be a passenger in a car when the driver cuts in front of an 18-wheeler. Healthcare. IQ nurse. Sometimes having a patient die is the best thing to brighten my day. Seriously. If you have been keeping mom or grandma alive for 2-12 weeks after she should have biologically died and she finally gets to die, I'm genuinely happy I don't have to torture someone to soothe your conscience anymore. If you'd put your pet down in this situation, it might just be time to let your more valuable human relative go. When you have an IV placed, there isn't actually a needle left in your arm. The needle is taken out and a tiny flexible plastic tube is left in. So many people think they are walking around with a needle in their arm and are afraid to move it around. Thank you for posting this. I have always cringed hardcore when I watch a person in a movie wake up in the hospital and then rip the IV from their arm. Thank you so much. 2/3 of Staples' annual profits occur during the 2-4 week period of back to school shopping. Office supply stores are always eerily empty. Just a few young guys in khakis with name tags. I always wondered how they stayed open. Now it makes sense. The fajitas at Chili's aren't actually sizzling. They have a sauce called sizzle sauce that you spray over the hot food so it gives the illusion that it is sizzling. At Outback Steakhouse, they will prepare your food however the duck you want. They'll put your sirloin in a blender if you want. Get creative. Edit, I think OB owes me a gift card or something for all this free advertising I just gave them. Yes. I would like the most expensive thing on the menu stuffed with the second most expensive thing on the menu. If you're going to the dentist to get work done, fillings, crowns, etc., and you use Coke, tell your dentist. Coke use, within the 24 hours or even more, plus dental work equals medical emergencies and often death. So, moral of the story. Don't do Coke then get a filling. Dart. Your kids' camp counselors get drunk in the woods every night and smoke like Cheech and Chong. They are also incredibly responsible, dedicated, and caring individuals who will go the extra mile to make sure campers are safe and having a great time. If you have Windows 7, with many windows up and only want one, take hold of the one you want. Wiggle it back and forth a few times, and all the rest will minimize. I'm a cart pusher. It might shock some people to know that you are allowed to put your carts into the little Carol thingies. They aren't just for display. In fact, we greatly appreciate it. The store I used to work at had those chains that required you to put a quarter in to unlock the cart. I loved when people didn't put the cart in the corral because that meant extra money for me. I'd probably make more in an hour from that than I would from my actual wages. All keys to Chevy police cars are the same key. Unless the department has a custom key made, which they never do. Get one key and you have them all. This improves my post-apocalyptic fantasies immensely. Healthcare worker. If we have to phone a patient at home and someone else answers, we are not allowed to identify where we are calling from or why. So say we need to ring John Q. Citizen and his wife answers, then we can only say, may I speak to John Citizen please? Wife will ask who it is, her name. Wife will ask where are you from, why do you need to speak to John? I can't discuss that with you. Could you please put John on the phone etc. It causes so many issues. We would love to just say I'm calling about his blood test, but we are legally not allowed to do so. I am not being obstructionist or rude. Please just suck it up and pass the phone over. Doctors and nurses in hospitals make mistakes all the time. They work crazy hours, have too much to do, and small errors can change someone's life. I don't even blame them. The conditions make it impossible. Up. A boy I went to theater school with got hit by a car when he was about 11. The nurse had been on the clock for like 12 hours already. And she read the request for 4.5cc of morphine as 45cc. Luckily, the mistake was caught right away. So instead of dying, the kid just spent 6 months in a coma and the year after waking up in a wheelchair. He never could sing after that either. The reason a lot of military units have massive budgets is because the defense funding system works on a use it or lose it system. We may not need our full budget one year, but we're a deploying unit that is deploying next year and we'll need it then. If we don't spend it all by the 1st of September, the fiscal year starts October 1. When the new budget comes out we will have reduced funds. So units frequently spend all the money they are allotted in order to have guaranteed funding for when they need it. If the system didn't punish units for being frugal and made it easy to acquire funds needed for training and equipment, we could reduce spending quite a bit most of the time. Virtually all of the forests you hike in, camp in, hunt in, and ride your bike through were once either farmland or pasture, or logged at some point in time. 99% of the forest land east of the Mississippi in the US and in Europe were all once cut down. And almost none of the original old-growth forests remain in the state they were before man cultivated the land. Notable exceptions are high mountain-top forests, steep ravines, and specially conserved tracts of land held privately by concerned landowners. Many hardwood forests in the US were cut down between 1750 and 1900. And are in the process of secondary succession, whereby new pioneer species take over, and a new forest slowly matures. These secondary forests aren't always of the same species as the ones that existed before being cut down. Many of the pine oak forests of New England have been replaced by birch maple forests, and both the American chestnut and American elm species, which once comprised some of the most massive and beautiful trees and made up to 60% of forest stands down the Appalachian Mountains, have been held off by introduced diseases from Europe. Edit: I should have stated that I'm a forester, and do most of my work out in the woods, and occasionally in front of a couple computer screens making maps using GIS software. The generic does the same thing as the brand name. Let's repeat that. The generic does the same thing as the brand name. Technical writer. Lots of people work really hard to write all those electronics manuals that you don't read. Also, manuals are considered legal documents. If a client injures themselves following a set of bad instructions, the company can be held accountable. If you spend a bunch of money to get your computer fixed and then a week later there is a new issue, 99% of the time it's your own fault. No, we didn't put some magic voodoo spell on your computer to keep you spending money fixing the damn thing. It's that 250 plus GB of media you insist on downloading from random places on the internet. Almost every issue on a computer boils down to user error. Also, if you come in and ask us, you won't look at my files, will you? The first thing we do when you leave is to find exactly what you're worried about us finding. 90% of professional brewing is cleaning things. Beer is simple and a naturally occurring substance. We just make it easier for the yeast to do their job by monitoring temperatures, anticipating problems, and cleaning. It's honestly hard to add to this thread. It's common knowledge where I work. For instance, opening a tank of fermenting beer to see how it's going will probably make you pass out from CO2 inhalation. And worst case you. We frequently get drunk college students on tours ask if they can go inside a tank of beer. No. You will die. Also, we don't spend all day drinking beer and looking at samples. Mostly it's lifting heavy stuff, cleaning, getting dirty, moving heavy stuff. And did I mention cleaning? I've run a valet company for years. We don't look through your things. We probably know more about your car than you do, as long as there are no after stock additions. Then please tell us. We don't take the car off the lot. Most of the people that have worked for me have degrees. There was a point when I was the only guy on my staff without a master's, and the nicer the car is, the less we drive it. TL. Dr. Ferris Bueller ruined the public's notions about valets. I'm just a cashier and don't have the power, authority, ability to do most of what you expect me to do. I had one lady ask me to ring up 2 containers of ice cream. She told me prior that they were on sale for $8 altogether. When they rang up, they were $4 a piece. She told me that was wrong and I had to take 10 minutes to explain to her that it was the same exact thing. She refused to believe it and stormed out of the store without her ice cream. I've only been a cashier for 2 days. No one will see this, but I work in a lab and we heal hundreds if not thousands of our lab animals every day. At Chick-fil-A, we accept any other restaurant's fast food coupons. Say you have a coupon for a free sandwich at McDonald's. We would accept that and give you a free one. Also, if you were to get up to the drive-thru and realize you had left your money elsewhere, we usually will comp your meal and tell you to pay it back next time. Of course, this is if the meal is in moderation and not a huge ducking order. Edit: I will try to find out if the policy is just our store or everywhere. I have been with the company for about 6 years now, so it is very possible it has changed. Also, we do accept Chick-fil-A coupons that have expired no matter what and ones from other Chick-fil-A's. Usually I don't even look at the expiration date because of this reason. Edit: to ask my boss about the other store's coupons. It is per store if the owner wants to. He said he would have no problem with it since no one really knows about it. If you'll have any more questions about Chick-fil-A, I would love to answer them. Teacher here: despite our best efforts, we are not your children's parents. Many times, students come to our rooms with a complete lack of manners. Usually, those students learn less because they feel the classroom is just like home. If you're a relaxed parent, then your kid will think that misbehaviors are also okay in school. Please teach your children to be well behaved. It will help us all. Wendy's actually cracks and cooks a fresh egg every time you order a breakfast sandwich. And the chili does not come out of a can. Indeed, the chili does not come from a can. However, as a former Wendy's cook, I can tell you that the meat in the chili comes from burgers on the grill that have been overcooked or broke apart while being prepared. I've worked at multiple retirement homes. The senior citizen residents hook up with each other quite frequently. I work at a motel. A few things you should know when traveling. Never use the bedspread. These get reused. That should be the first thing you remove before getting into bed. They only get washed maybe every 3 months or if a guest soils it. Never walk around barefoot in your room. Carpets get cleaned about once or twice a year, if that. Try not to use the in-room phone. This is the most overlooked piece of furniture and rarely gets cleaned properly. Using online sources to book a cheaper room. Don't do it. Most of the time you could have gotten a better rate just calling the motel hotel directly. That's all for now. Happy traveling. 1. Sodas are virtually free for us, restaurant. But not for you, consumer. Those are quite marked up. 2. It's on sale for a reason. Yes. We discount tickets in undesirable seating sections. Can I get these very great seats that will sell quickly for your sale price? No. 3. Comedians don't like you yelling at the stage. Unless a comedian explicitly asks the audience a question. Keep your mouth shut. It's not what they want. I don't mean this in a mean way. Some people legitimately don't know. Edited for clarity. Ice cream tastes much better at a warmer temperature, 26 degrees, than it does right out of your freezer, 20 degrees. The colder temperatures make you taste a bit less tasty. The throttle of go-karts is located just above the motor and can make your kart anywhere from 5-10 miles per hour faster. I worked for a short time as a go-kart mechanic. Whenever we were about to put a kart back into the general population, we would turn the throttle way up and zoom around the track while people were racing. Everybody would do and are about how much faster it was. But then we would turn it back down. Everybody in the next group would run straight for it. And whoever happened to get it was always disappointed. Failing a student is absolute agony for most professors. We will often look for any loophole we can find to let you pass the class. Because, frankly, having to tell you that you're failing is one of the worst things we will have to do for our job all year. We think about you when we turn in our grades and we torture ourselves about it afterward. Unless your professor is truly an asshole. When you fail a class, you have legitimately failed that class. PS, grading papers takes a really long time. Hotels have to keep what's called rate parity across all travel websites. If they list a room on one website for $199.99 a night and $199.98 on another, they risk being fined $50 for every occurrence. This is why every website can claim they have the lowest prices. Because it's supposed to be the same across all sites. Most hotels update their online inventory Friday afternoon and Monday mornings. You're most likely to find an error then. I worked at an optometrist's office for about 2 years and sold glasses. We sold more high-end stuff, but had basically everything. What some people don't realize is that if your prescription is really strong, you should shell out the extra money for the better lens material and maybe for that anti-reflective coating. It will make a huge difference in clarity, especially if you drive at night. If you have a really low prescription, duck it. Get the cheap lenses. You won't notice. Also, if you wear contacts, duck and give your eyes a break every now and then. If you wear them from the moment you wake up until right before you go to bed, your eyesight will get way worse way faster. You risk serious infection. And you're kind of suffocating your eyes. Even if you have the kind that you can wear for 30 days straight. You sure as hell better have at least one pair of sheety glasses you can wear if you ever tear a lens, injure your eye, or run out of contacts. Laser Quest, a company that promotes itself as a 21st century game of tag, has computers that run in MS-DOS mode. The computers that have been upgraded at certain centers have been upgraded to Windows 98. Because we operate in the future. Edito. I forgot to mention our internet is dial-up. Yeah. That legislators, celebrities, high-ranking government officials and anyone else that can make trouble for the credit industry have a special section in the credit bureaus that keep them in high scores. Even if they are high risk. Casino dealers are not out to take your money. We live off tips. We want you to win. Most private colleges, especially those with high endowments and a considerable amount of prestige, will send a list of each year's applicants to their communications development office. They'll research the kids and their families and give them a rating based on the potential the kid has to add to the endowment, basically an assessment of family wealth potential. This is used more to distinguish between the multitude of wealthy kids who apply to such colleges. If you're poor, most schools see that as added diversity and will help your chances at acceptance.